How do people just skip breakfast? I have blood sugar problems, so for me at least it's not an option to skip breakfast. But I don't understand how people even without blood sugar problems can just skip breakfast. Aren't you just starving and groggy for the 3-6 hours until lunch? Haven't eaten breakfast regularly since I was maybe 12. My stomach has no desire for food until I've been awake for 4 or 5 hours. Coffee and a drink of water is all I want. I just can't stomach anything before I've been awake for a certain amount of time. Makes me feel bloated and nauseous. I wake at 6. Eat at 9:30, 10:00. If I eat shortly after waking, I'm going back to sleep. Food fatigue is a big thing for me. So during working hours I eat small and regularly, generally avoiding hot warm foods and carb-heavy meals. I DK how else to explain it, but eating first thing in the morning makes me nauseous. I've never enjoyed or eaten breakfast. I often feel more awake when I skip a meal. Digestion is more likely to make me feel groggy. If I don't normally eat at a certain time, I probably wouldn't feel hungry. But if I did, it would only be momentary and easily ignored. Usually it's lunch I skip, but sometimes breakfast instead. Intermittent fasting. Breakfast breaks the fast. Of course, for some people, it helps them to maintain weight better. And for others, it is a matter of clarity of mind. There's also just some people who think breakfast is a waste of time when they're busy bodies. Or they quite literally don't have the time. If people were starving and groggy, they wouldn't skip breakfast. Once I start eating, I start feeling hungry. But until then my body is quite content with an empty stomach. When I was a kid, my parents wouldn't pay for school breakfast. So years of not. Now I get sick if I eat breakfast. You said it yourself. You have blood sugar problems. Others do not and can fast for several days without having their blood sugar dip. Also, eventually people will enter a keto state after 3 days to about a week, and with the enough vitamins and minerals they can fast for several weeks to about a month. Everyone is different though, so you do you. I'm not hungry when I wake up for at least a couple of hours. Also, I always feel sluggish and distracted after I eat, so I prefer to postpone that and I eat very light in the morning even once I do. If I have a big meal, I find I need to rest afterwards to recover, or else I get cramps and comfortableness if I try to jump into something else. I don't usually start eating till 2-3 p.m. Coffee for breakfast, coffee for lunch, dinner, that's all. Every day. Personally, I already struggle with mornings, and eating too early leaves me feeling heavy and weighed down. By lunchtime I'm more awake and I've got a good appetite. I get up at 4:30. I'm simply not hungry for several hours. I'll usually have a small snack around 9. Every human is different. I'm coffee dependent in the morning. That's sufficient for me. I just honestly don't have an appetite before noon. It depends on your schedule. When I worked second shift, my breakfast was most people's lunch. Usually not eaten immediately on waking. Also, breakfast wasn't necessarily eaten first thing. At farms, the original WFH, you would eat breakfast after several hours of work. I will get nauseous if I eat before noon. I get really focused on whatever I'm doing. And after 25 years of growing up poor gaming military life, noticing hunger doesn't happen until I actually start getting dizzy from it. It's very common for my first food of the day to happen 9 hours after waking. You get used to it. I went to 2 meals a day because I was eating too much and was diagnosed with pre-diabetes. I don't want things to top over into actual diabetes. The way I did it is by eating a brunch instead of breakfast and lunch. And I drink coffee, tea and water in the morning. After a couple of months it gets a lot easier. People are different. I don't understand how. They are different than you. I am neither hungry nor groggy until around 1 p.m. and I'm up at 5. I run. And then I work out. People are different. You're going to run into a lot of situations like this in your life. Best accept that people are different. They want different things. And they experience different feelings. Don't be so shocked by it. That's just naive. For most people, blood sugar rises early in the day even if we haven't eaten for a few hours. Our liver gets busy while we sleep doing fancy metabolism things, releasing more glucose into your bloodstream. It's called the dawn phenomenon if you want to look it up. This means most people don't wake up low in blood sugar. If you track your blood sugar, you will often find that it's higher when you wake up than when you went to bed. I'm not hungry when I wake up but usually end up eating lunch way early, like 11:30. Sometimes around 10 I'll have a banana. Unless there are extenuating circumstances. My wife and I fast until 12 p.m. every day. Once you get used to it, it's great. There is a lot of evidence that fasting is healthy. It's almost like it doesn't affect them the same way you experience it. Who knew people were different? I've heard once you establish an eating pattern, your pancreas will start to get ready. I'm a nighttime eater. So that's when I feel hungry. I suffer from postnasal drip. So my stomach is full of snot when I wake up. More nauseated than hungry. After a while, say, when I've been awake for a couple hours, then I'll want to chomp something. But not till the nausea passes. I have a cup of coffee with milk for breakfast. But some people claim it doesn't count because it's a drink. Don't really get hungry till the afternoon. Maybe noon if I'm doing more physical work. If I'm just hanging out at home, I don't get hungry till dinner time. Edit I do drink water throughout the day. Being tight on cash. Not wanting to shit at work. I'm already a little fat so it's not like I need the calories. Usually I only eat once a day around 1-8 p.m. Gotta hit that early morning protein synthesis window. Yeah, budday. Eating when I first got up used to make me feel nauseous. It's gotten better with age, so now I eat breakfast. I've never been a breakfast person, but I do eat breakfast at times depending on my fasting routine. I haven't eaten breakfast since I was a child. I just don't feel hungry until the late afternoon, and the thought of food earlier than that is very unappealing. I usually don't eat breakfast, it makes me gag, but I often just eat when I'm hungry. I always skip breakfast and often skip lunch. I like eating one very large meal a day. My university did a study that found that for some people it's natural. There's some ideas about why, but no one knows for sure. I put creamer in my coffee, which is quite high in fat and sugar, so after 2 cups it's as if I've eaten something unhealthy already. If I eat too soon after waking up, I get really bad stomach cramps. It used to really suck when I worked an early morning restaurant job. I was on my feet running around the whole time. So I'd get really hungry if I didn't eat first, but if I did eat before work, I'd find myself doubled over in pain an hour or so later. My current job has fairly regular breaks, so I can get away with just drinking coffee before work and then eating during my first break. I'm generally a night owl, so when I don't have work, I usually don't eat until about 1-2 p.m. Maybe even 5-6 p.m. if I'm having a really lazy day. Stomach issues for me. I wake up with my body already hating me, so if I eat, even after a morning dump and Reddit scroll, I'll make it into work. I'm agony. Doesn't really matter what I eat or how much, but I need a couple hours. This sucks because I am legitimately very hungry in the morning.